Hey gang, Lester Smith here in one of what I hope will become an ongoing series of solo adventure sessions using either programmed adventures like Wyvern's Way for the Legendary Lives RPG or solo oracles like my favorite, the Game Master's Apprentice. If you're not familiar with my work, please visit my website, lestersmith.com, where you'll find my blog, a list of game awards and credits, current role playing projects, and more. Today, I'm going to be playing the Ring of Thieves adventure for the Risus role playing game. Now, if you're familiar with these videos, you'll know that I normally do on the fly conversion to D6 by D6 rules because there are a ton of great solitaire adventures out there and I don't want to have to use a different system every time. You can pick up a free copy of Risus at DriveThru RPG, and I recommend visiting risusverse.com, a community center for Risus players, which has many support items, including the adventure that I'm playing today. So let's talk about Risus. The game rules are 4 pages long. The fourth page is advanced material. The third page is about group actions. The second page is the main part of the system. The first page is how to put a character together. One of the things that I love about this game is character creation. There's a character right here. Name, description for role-playing purposes, and 4 cliches. Cliches being a descriptor of what the character is capable of. 10 dice to divide among however many cliches you want to have, maximum of 4 dice in each. So this is the usual setup. 4 in one, 3 in another, 2 in another, and 1 in the last. In this case, this character is a great Viking, which would mean probably sailing, and you could use that for combat, things like that. A decent gambler, a pretty poor poet. This combat system really should be called a conflict resolution system. You can see you can use it for arguments, horse racing, you could use it for karaoke contests if you wanted to. Normally, if you fail at a roll, you just fail. If you're playing combat and you fail, then you lose a die out of the cliche that you're using for that action. Now, in the Ring of Thieves adventure, they actually have a somewhat more fleshed out character sheet, but this final paragraph here is about if you don't want to play Lucas or don't want to play Lucas as made, these are ways that you can adjust him. This section here is some material from something called the Risus Companion. In this case, Lucas got 2 extra dice, one that he spent in these cliches, and one that was spent to buy 3 lucky shots. Here's all you need to know about lucky shots, they say. Whenever you need a boost of luck, you can use one of them, and you're adding a die to the cliche that you're using. Once you've used that die, it's gone. I've made a copy of this character sheet in paint.net so that as he gets into combat, if he takes damage, I can click out the number and type in a new one. Keep track of things that way. I've also got some space down here for any notes that may come up. So let's get started playing. And I should mention that I don't know any more about this adventure than you do. Launching it into it blind. Let me put on my glasses to help read. Okay, in Ring of Thieves, you control the destiny of Lucas Marks, young halfling, rogue, mercenary, and partner in crime with Patricia Meadows, a 22-year-old human adventuress. You are Lucas, and Patricia is your partner. The two of you have been together for 3 years, and you've seen the strangest corners of the world. Your unlikely association began in the city of Chamlek when you tried to pick one another's pockets in the streets. After some embarrassing laughter, the most important friendship of your life began. With each passing season, your friendship grows stronger, a relationship built on mutual admiration. Our story finds you both in the great northern city-state of Hultag in the midst of a cruel winter. You arrived just a week ago seeking a new source of revenue and shelter from a blizzard here in the mighty river city. Unfortunately, you found only uncaring crowds, cold winds, and the tireless presence of the merchant oligarchy's finest lawmen. Until yesterday, while perusing the dockside curiosity shops for foreign tidbits, you were ambushed. 5 men dressed in identical gray cloaks and wielding long knives demanded money and jewelry. You were prepared to run for it, to lose them in the twisting alleyways. But Patricia was in a testy mood. Her short sword leapt from its scabbard like vengeful lightning, and 2 gray cloaks were bleeding and screaming before the others could react. The grim melee that followed was a good deal less clean, but no less decisive. 2 more gray suits went down, one by your blade, the other by Patricia's, with the last one running for dear life. You're not sure if it's safe to say that you love Patricia. You certainly do. You're just not sure if it's safe to say it. You gathered their purses and vacated the alley, making a celebratory supper at the Cup and Talon, a small hostelry in the North Canal district. When you examined your spoils, you were shocked to find a magical ring amid the coins, a simple band of brass, gleaming with a purple radiance. Clearly, the gray suits had been very greedy to go for a second job in a single day, especially after such a rich haul. But their loss was your gain. With the coinage spent on your feast and a bed for the night, and the ring tucked in the side pocket of your shoe, you've settled into bed with Patricia for a well-deserved rest. After grumpily fighting over the covers, sleep finally comes, and the icy, river-scented air creeps in past the shutters. As the adventure begins, it's the following morning. When you are ready to play, begin at the section numbered 1. Let's begin. Okay, chances are you're familiar with programmed adventures called Pick a Path, Which Way, Choose Your Own Adventure. If you're not, what you do is start with the first section, read it. You may end up having to roll some dice or make a decision, and then depending on what happens, you may end up going to one of a few different new sections. So for our first section, upon awakening, the first thing you notice is the open window of your room. The shutters creak slightly, swinging listlessly in the dawn, and the icy breeze raises goosebumps on your skin. Outside, a few lonely snowflakes drift silently over the rooftops. The second thing you notice is that Patricia is gone. Her side of the bed is empty, and you know you didn't go to sleep with the window open. You sit upright in surprise and meet a wave of nausea. You collapse, straining for breath, back into your pillow. The bed is empty. Tricia is gone. Your head hurts. The window is open. You're having the worst hangover of your life, but you didn't touch more than a single flagon last night. Very little is making sense. And Patricia never gets up before midday unless you make her. You're genuinely worried. If she's got in any sort of mischief, you fight to make sense of the world through a wall of pain. Roll against either your ladies' man or fun-loving mercenary cliche to fight off the effects of your hangover. The difficulty for either cliche is 10. If you succeed, go to 8. If you fail, go to 20. All right, so Risus sets difficulties 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, with 10 being sort of average and 30 being Herculean. So this is an average level test. I don't want to forget where we are, so let's highlight that. Okay, let's go to what I use for an online dice roller, Google Dice. Just type Google Dice into a search bar, and this is what comes up. You can see that it has polyhedral dice. There's a roll button you click here. It will total everything up. If you don't want a die, you just click on it. If you need more than one of something, you click down here. And today we are going to need 6-siders, so we'll get rid of everything else here. And let's see, it said that we are supposed to use either ladies' man or fun-loving mercenary. So let's see what we've got. Fun-loving mercenary of 3, ladies' man of 2. Well, it only makes sense to use fun-loving mercenary, right? So we'll need 3 dice. And here we go. We're trying to get a 10. And got a 10 exactly. If you succeed, go to 8. And I'm sorry I'm going to have to scroll through this because they don't have the numbers hyperlinked. With a Herculean effort, you shake free of the fog of sleep and nausea. You stand uneasily, and it feels as though the room itself is bucking angrily beneath your feet. You try to make out details, and your eye catches a small piece of paper on the windowsill. The paper is ready to fall, tipping in the breeze. It bumps along the sill and then sails up into the air, heading right for the Hultog rooftops. Roll against either your halfling, burglar, or fun-loving mercenary cliché. Difficulty 20. In either case, to snag the paper quickly. If you succeed, go to 34. If you fail, go to 51. Well, this sounds like a pretty important clue. So I think we should definitely roll for halfling burglar. Let's try to decide whether to put one of those Lucas Luck dice on here, but not going to. We're looking for a 20. 15. Oh no. Maybe I should have put an extra die on there. If you fail, go to 51. You dive for the paper, but it sails just beyond your reach, out over the city. Your head throbs with pain as you hang out over the alleyway, your stomach resting on the sill. You curse your lack of speed as you watch the note flip playfully away amid the falling snow. If you want to follow it and try to catch it, go to 9. If you let the paper go, go to 68. Hey, this seems like a pretty important clue, so let's go to 9. Clutching your nightshirt in one hand and steadying yourself with the other, you climb through the window and onto the roof of the inn, nearly slipping on the thin coating of ice. Even the leathery soles of your shoes, combined with the equally leathery soles of your feet, aren't protecting you from the intense cold. You feel your toes going numb. The note, meanwhile, has sailed over to the next rooftop and rests on the edge of a smoking chimney. You will have to jump for it. If you decide not to risk it, go to 68. If you want to go for the note, go to 82. Well, it seems like they are trying to discourage us from going after this note. I am going to take the challenge and go to 82 and hope that I haven't made a serious mistake. You steady for yourself, you steady yourself for the jump, but this isn't the sort of thing you're used to. You're more of an explorer than a second-story man. Patricia likes the rooftops. You've always preferred burglaries closer to the ground, and the alley below looks hard. A stray cat, shivering and dusted with snow, looks up at you with interest and sniffs the air. You're suddenly very aware of how short your legs are. Roll against either your halfling burglar, difficulty 10, or fun-loving mercenary, difficulty 15, cliché, to make a strong jump. If you fail, go to 101. If you succeed, go to 93. All right, and again, Halfling Burglar is a 4, and we need only a 10 with that. Fun-loving Mercenary is a 3, and we need a 15 for that. So let's go with the Halfling Burglar. 4 dice again. 16. 16. Difficulty 10, so we made it. If you succeed, go to 93. Whew. I thought I was goner there. You hold your breath, crouch, and leap, reflecting for an instant that halflings, on the whole, are not good jumpers. The icy wood beneath you blends in a whirl with the gray alleyway, the falling snow, and the pale light of morning. You slam against your goal like a sack of salt and grip it for dear life. Your fingers tighten and grasp at the icy tiles. A moment passes and the world stops spinning. You lift your head to find that the paper still rests on the chimney. You reach out and grab it. You read, "The ring is ours. We'll be back tomorrow to take it. If you cooperate, the woman might live. W. Gregg, Guildmaster." Guildmaster? Hultag has never had a real thieves guild that you know of. A few scattered mobs here and there, of course, but the local law is tough on attempts to really organize. That's why you've been operating elsewhere when you bother to actually steal for a living. You read the note a few more times. You aren't about to just sit around and trust these guys. You make your way back across, much more slowly this time, and re-enter your room, shivering. Go to 68. Well, I'm glad I took that desperate leap, but Patricia is worth it all, right? 68. The room is a wreck. Debris is scattered everywhere. Clothing, belts, pouches, and all of your professional gear. The place has been ransacked. Now you're really worried. Go to 21. 21. Trembling in the cold air, you shake off the last of that strange sickness and search your room more closely. Under the bed, you find a tiny glass vial. It's empty, but traces of yellow fluid still line it. You retrieve it gently and sniff. Dear God, the stench is overpowering, and you feel your mind filling with sticky cotton and your stomach convulsing with fresh nausea. You rear back and run to the window, taking painful gulps of cold, fresh air. Certainly, this is how all of this was done without waking you or arousing Patricia's vengeance. Alchemy. You tip the bottle gently on its side as the last of the vapors escape it. Whoever did this was careless. They left the label on. It reads, Grim Ray's Apothecary and Potion House, number 15, Short Alley. Price is reasonable, safety assured. You sigh at the irony of the last line. It certainly wasn't safe for you or Patricia. You feel your heart clenched with fear for her well-being. If you've read the note on the windowsill, go to 52. If you haven't, go to 35. Good thing we went after the note, right? 52. You prop yourself against the bed and loose your left shoe. The ring falls to the floor and you retrieve it. Its strange gleam is still apparent, but offers no clues to its nature. Obviously, they wrecked the room searching for it, and when they didn't find it, they decided to kidnap one thief and scare the other into giving it up for ransom. You wonder for a moment why they chose to steal your partner instead of you, and then regret the thought. A bunch of cutthroat bastards would certainly prefer the company of a drugged Patricia to a drugged Lucas. You'd have no trouble giving up some absurd trinket, no matter how valuable, for Patricia's safety. But you're not so stupid as to trust this scum. You look back over the note. If Thieves Guild of some sort really has been formed, they have to have some way to be contacted. You can use that to pin them. Go to 69. One last look around the room, time to go. You gather up your important gear and leave the rest. Note, this is the equipment listed with your character description. Let's take a look at that list. Tools, clothing, cash, short sword, belt pouch, a gold coin enchanted to shine with light, kept in his pouch until needed, lockpicks, and a few meals worth of dried rations. Okay. Oh, I didn't notice. Lucas is rotten with anything mechanical. He operates at half dice when dealing with locks or traps. Right, to be fair, I'm going to have to remember that. Go to, oh, here we are. You're surprised to discover that despite making a mess, the thieves left all of your belongings and Patricia's. You grab her short sword and belt it on too. Add this to your list. She'll probably need it before this is over. Okay, here we go. There's room to write here. We'll just call it sword. Okay, back to the adventure. Now, how to pursue them? It certainly looks like they might have come in through the window. You could go out and scout for a trail, go to 22, or you could head down into the tavern and ask around for leads, go to 90. Well, I don't feel like spending the time talking to people if I can find a trail myself. So Lucas is going to look for a trail, 22. You edge out into the cold air and lay a foot on the icy roofing. The morning sun has edged across the city wall, squatting on the horizon, and the falling snow glitters. The rooftops stretch to the horizon, laid out like a robber's street map, gleaming with ice and full of twisting columns of chimney smoke. You sniff the air. Even the bitter cold can't stifle the strange blend of smells that lives eternally above Hultog. To the north and east, the city slopes upward slightly, and to the southwest you can see the docks and the river, with a dozen or more longboats loading cargoes for morning sail. Even in winter, the docks of the oligarchs do not lie fallow. Unfortunately, this grand scene provides little in the way of advice. The snow on the roof shows no signs of disturbance that you could reasonably attribute to kidnappers. You could circle the roof of the hostelry once to see if any other windows have been disturbed, go to 53, or you could go back in and head downstairs to the tavern to ask around. I kind of doubt that they've broken into any other rooms, so I guess I have to go down to the tavern. But he's not much of a second story man anyway, it said. All right. Shouldering your gear confidently, you head down the stairs into the noisy crowd of the Cup and Talon. The place has been well cleaned since the revelry of the previous night, and the customers are noisily engaging in some serious breakfast. The crowd consists mostly of sailors or craftsmen. Most other folk are either still asleep or already working. You peer upwards at the many bleary faces and wonder if any of them could offer you assistance in finding the men in the gray suits. You dodge nimbly to avoid being tossed underfoot by the oblivious humans. You need to find somebody that might know something about a new thieves guild. Searching intently through the taller forms around you, you find the three people that might be of some use. An old sailor running a game of fortune in a center table, a fellow halfling sitting on a bar stool counting money, and a tall man in gray robes sitting alone by the windows. If you wish to talk to the sailor, go to 55. If you wish to approach the halfling, go to 37. If you prefer to speak with the gray-robed gentleman, go to 71. Well, hey, another halfling. Maybe this one can help me out. Sorry, which? 37. Too far. There is nothing like one of your own to converse with in a city of strangers, and this fellow looks like a gentleman adventurer as well. You will have everything in common then. You approach, and wish that you hadn't. Lucas, the halfling says, pocketing his gold and turning to you with a wide, toothy grin. Lucas, my old chum, my comrade, my lifelong friend, how are you? He lets his smile fall a notch. Why are you here, lifelong friend? You manage a stiff grin. It's been a long time dream of yours to punch this fellow very hard in the mouth. You smile sourly at the all too familiar features of Joseph Kettlebroth, a competitor from Vastaga. You believed that you had lost him at your and Patricia's last venture near Kestaban. Joseph, are you really following me, or do we just think alike? You don't bother masking your sarcasm. Joseph is unperturbed. I could ask the same of you, friend Lucas. I remember just a season ago in the lands of Kestaban, wasn't it? When Patricia and yourself tried to take what was my own legitimate find in the caves of Mount Kojar. You haven't the time to argue, and it is impossible that he would have anything useful to tell you. You attempt to disentangle yourself, but Joseph won't quit. And where is Patricia, your lovely, if gigantic, partner? Angry now, you turn slowly and say, just fine, thanks, and disappear into the crowd just as Joseph lets out an offended humph. Go to 95. You wander through the tavern some more and look about. If you have already visited with two people, then you have taken a great deal of time and should continue your search. Go to 56. If, however, you have only visited one, you can spare the time for a second if you wish. If you wish to speak with the sailor, go to 55. If you wish to approach the halfling, already done that. If you prefer to speak with the gray-robed gentleman, go to 71. All right. The old sailor, it seems the sort who might know some gossip, but gray cloaks, gray robed. Nah, I'm going to go speak with the sailor. He seems a more rough and ready type. 55. After politely waiting for his current customer to depart, you approach the table of the gambling sailor and hop into the chair across from him. An old man, he works nimbly with his coins and clears them away at your approach. He smiles a toothless grin. Morning, friend. What's your game? Haycross? Drafts? Centaur? Black rum? He shuffles a pack of painted cards, and beside him is a bowl of dice and other gambling implements. Do you engage him in a game and then ease in the subject of the gray-suited man? If so, go to 73. If you prefer to just bring up the subject, perhaps with a bribe if it seems necessary, then go to 84. Let's look at Lucas's character sheet again. Fun-loving mercenary, he isn't a gambler. And I do think he is the type of rapscallion who would think it was best to ease into the topic over a game. If so, go to 73. You think for a moment and then declare, black rum it is. You were a fair hand at the lengthened card game in your youth, and you might lose less money by gambling with him than you would with a bribe. The old man shuffles skillfully and begins a humorous patter, dealing as he does so. You engage in a few hands, winning one, losing two, before bringing up the object of your search. The old sailor reacts with the gambler's indifferent expression. Aye, young sir, I know of a few that meet your description. They gather sometimes near Gaffrey's docks, and are good at avoiding the eye of the city's lawmen. He sighs. I'm no one to be the hero and report their activities. The gentleman seemed sincere, and you remember what he told you. You might want to jot it down in your notes. You close your game and thank him. Gaffrey's docks, I guess, is the thing to take note of. Gray robes, gather at Gaffrey's dock. Save this so we don't lose anything. Close your game and thank him. Go to 95. Okay, back to 95. You wander through the tavern some more and look about. If you have already visited with 2 people, then you have taken a great deal of time and should continue your search. Go to 56. All right, so 56 it is. You brace yourself for the cold winter air, walking toward the tavern door, but a voice stops you in your tracks. Halfling! You whirl around, hand on the hilt of your sword. No one is there, and a few of the tavern's patrons give you a disgusted look. The voice, which was very loud, seems to have gone completely unnoticed. The back of your neck tingles with fear. Madness? Delusion? Sorcery? Whenever put to the test, you are inclined to blame the latter first. But who would cast such a spell just to annoy you? Lucas! The voice has returned. Looking downward, you see that the ring in your pocket is shining with a sickly purple radiance, so bright that it's shining through the cloth of your pocket. Quickly covering the light with your hand, you open the door and step onto the street. Slipping briefly on the ice, you hurry into a nearby alley and examine the problem in private. Safe in the shadows, you remove the ring from your pocket and hold it before you. The ring still glows, and standing on its metal surface is a tiny winged creature formed of the ugly purple light. It has both hands on its hips and is staring at you with white, impatient eyes. What are you? You demand in a whisper. I am Zim, the spirit which dwells within this ring, the creature says, bowing. I am the most powerful of the ring spirits and the protector of any who possess the ring. I am the sworn foe of the red jinn. It finishes with another bow and a flourish of its tiny arm. You stare at the miniature creature in wonderment. This, no doubt, was why the gray suits were so keen on getting the ring back. This is something powerful. Zim's eyes flare green for an instant. Put me on your finger. You know better than to deal so hastily with unknown sorceries. You shake your head. It wouldn't be very smart to try to sneak around with a glowing ring on my finger, you point out. The ring stops glowing. Zim grins. No, you say, I can't trust you. Then I, says the spirit icily, cannot protect you. I've done fine so far. I know of your goals, Zim says, smiling peacefully. I know about Patricia. I know about your feelings for her. You count softly to 3. Patricia and I are partners, and the very best of friends. That, I can assure you, is all. Zim nods knowingly. I can change that, Lucas. You know you want me to. You shove the ring into your pocket, disgusted, and the light blinks out. What a foul, manipulative little creature. You have a partner to rescue. Go to 115. You reflect on this revelation. The gray-suited thieves are apparently dealing with some form of black magic. A chill runs down your spine, unrelated to the cold air or shadows of the alleyway. The ring is a servant of some kind, but what of the red gin that it mentioned? You pull the trinket again from your pocket, but the glow is faded and no tiny spirit manifests itself. You return it to its place and examine your options. Your primary lead is Grimray, the alchemist who made the knockout gas. However, if you received any information about goings on at the docks or quayside, that provides a second option. If you follow up the alchemist lead, go to 25. If you have information leading you to the docks and prefer that path, go to 3. I'm not sure which of these leads to pick up on. I could go to the alchemist and check to see who bought this, but I already kind of think I know who bought this. The gray cloaks at the docks. So let's go there. 3. The Hultog docks are busy day and night. Even now, in the midst of one of the cruelest winters in years, sailors and merchants busy themselves amid the snowdrifts. Merchants from as far as the Chasm Sea and the southernmost reaches of the Tyrol crowd at the quayside to sell and buy, haggling with the warehouse owners and the tax officials of the oligarchs. The ice on the cobbles is already melted by the passage of feet or sanded over by the merchants and tavern keepers. The mass of humans and others swirls about you in a busy cloud of white breath and shouting voices. The crates and barrels form miniature cities unto themselves, and you twist between them to avoid being overtaken by the throng. If you've learned the name of a dock to visit, you can go there at 24. If you've learned the name of a tavern, which I didn't. If you have neither lead to follow, but I do. So let's go to 24. Gaffrey's Docks is a small warehouse and a single dock structure extending into the river, its roof sagging from a dangerously thick crust of snow. Aside from this one notable flaw in maintenance, it seems well kept, clean, and busy. It hardly seems like a hangout for a ring of thieves. The gambler, you recall, was old. Perhaps he was in error? The master of the dock, Dockmaster Arminius Gaffrey, if the painted sign on the warehouse is to be trusted, stands nearby. He's smiling broadly in the cold morning air, ordering several crates to be taken into the hold of a very small and very old vessel. You have nothing to lose by approaching him and asking a question or two. You step up to the stout gentleman and explain whom you are searching for. Yes, small one, he says, chewing energetically on a large horn pipe. Those men were trying a game of treachery on me, threatening to chase away business, he grins, but I ran them off when I began to bring the watch about. He smiles triumphantly. You were right. He is an honest businessman. You ask the man if he knows where they might be found, and he grinds his pipe in thought. I'm unsure these days. I don't follow them much since they've left my place alone. Then he brightens. But I do remember that they used to deal with that foul alchemist on Short Alley, Grimrays, and I know that they've been known to drink occasionally at the Iron Keel on Quayside Street. The owner is scum himself. He might let them sharpen their blades in there, in private. He shrugs, but that's all I know. You thank the man and wander back into the crowds. You already knew about Grimrays, yes, but the thought of the tavern worries you. If it's really serving as a meeting house, then you won't likely be able to get in or out with any degree of safety. On the other hand, that might be where they're keeping Patricia. If you opt to follow up on the alchemist lead, go to 25. If you head for the Iron Keel, go to 39. Well, this is where I am going to end the adventure in this video so that you can pick up and play it yourself. I'm definitely going to be following up on it myself. The writing on this is very good. I like the world that it's describing, and the characters are interesting, and the choices have been kind of fascinating. So definitely following up on this. I hope you had as good a time as I did. Catch you later.